Full-blown standoff as opposition parties resolve to sue Electoral Commission of a controversial steering committee ahead of an emergency IPAC meeting tomorrow.
All the members of this committee are fully fledged NTC members. The MPP election committee would also take a look at that. Look at the option of going to.
Tonight, we hear from the MPP and the PNC as they indicate readiness to drag the EC to court if the matter is not resolved in tomorrow's IPAC meeting.
Even the individuals involved themselves and have really moved further to say we are resigning. The Electoral Commission is pretending that they don't know what is going on and that they haven't seen any official commission. The court will be the last resort if push comes to shove. Trust me, we will be loudest, we will be vociferous, and we will be demanding of the Electoral Commission.
Why is the Electoral Commission sounding defiant in the face of demands by all opposition parties for dissolution of the steering committee? How does the confirmation that at least one of the members of the steering committee is an activist of the NDC affect the image of the Electoral Commission? What should be expected at the Emergency Inter-Party Advisory Committee tomorrow? This is today's big story with me, Kwache Afreniama. Welcome back to today's big story. We'll also be telling you about how more than 50 people perished in an accident on the Kintampo-Tamale Road. We'll explore the country's emergency response in times like this. And of course, the first story we are starting with concerns the EC's controversial steering committee. And it has become a full-blown standoff that now looks set to trigger a legal battle between the Electoral Commission and some opposition parties. The commission today sounded defiant in the face of demands by all opposition parties for it to disband a steering committee, a hard form to administer the 2016 elections. At least one member of that committee has now been established to be an activist of the governing National Democratic Congress. In spite of its public defiance, Joy News is learning that the EC has called an emergency inter-party advisory committee meeting tomorrow with all the political parties. We can now hear shortly from the PNC and the MPP. But first, listen to the Principal Public Relations Director of the Electoral Commission, Christian Osupari.
Is that it is necessary to have a committee of this nature.
What really, tell me, Mr. Osupari, what really are they going to add to the work of the commission?
A lot, Kwachi. The experience of 2014 when we had to reschedule registration because our program ran counter to the program of the GES. We were forced at that time to reschedule registration of voters. If we want the police, of course we have to go through the police hierarchy, and if there is somebody from the police on the committee, he is in position to tell us when the police intends to do A or B, and if he is aware or he has full knowledge of the commission's program, he is able to bring it to the notice of the police administration that the Electoral Commission plans to have this particular exercise that would involve the police at this material time.
The political parties say that you did not consult them.
You see, a lot of things are done administratively. And so if there is an administrative decision that has to be made by the commission, I do not think that such administrative issues always have to go to the political parties to say we agree or we don't agree. These are administrative decisions that the commission is empowered by the Constitution to make.
Even in a crucial election as this one, the Electoral Commission does not see the need to have consulted the political parties on this?
Why, we would consult them on all issues, in fact, all key issues. But it is not every decision that the commission makes that we say we are going to political parties for approval before we do it. Let us have some kind of space to work as an election management body, and let us take those administrative decisions that we think will be in the interest of our election.
The most controversial aspect of this 18-member committee is about the appointment of some persons some political parties have described as known members of the NDC. Dr. Karl Marx, for example.
To respond simply, I'll say that the commission has no knowledge of any member being a member of a political party. What we did when we conceived the idea of forming this committee was that we wrote to the institutions to give us one person to represent them on the committee. So the selection was purely the decision of those institutions. And we had no reason to believe or to doubt the integrity or even the political leanings of the people that they were bringing to us.
Are you going to consider proposals to scrap this committee, dissolve it?
Actually, I've already told you the committee is very, very important. And I don't think that merely because one or two are led to have some leanings with some political parties, the whole committee should be scrapped. No.
And you say you are not aware whether Karl Ahin has resigned or not. The EC is not aware.
Well, I'm saying we don't have any official communication to that effect. At least by the close of work yesterday when I checked, no such communication has reached the commission. If it happens, we will let the public know.
Some people have criticized you for failing to do the necessary background check before even accepting them on the committee.
These nominations came from institutions, and so we believe that the institutions did the necessary checks.
And the EC also could have done some background checks, you admit?
We very much trusted the institutions to do the right.
So we had the acting director of communications at the Electoral Commission, Christian Osupare. This position has obviously angered some of the opposition political parties, including the People's National Convention, as I mentioned, the New Patriotic Party, who've been thankfully joined on the line by the General Secretary of the PNC, Atiq Mohammed. Thanks for joining us on today's Big Story, Atiq.
Thank you very much for having me.
First, your reaction to the EC's position on this matter.
Let me say good evening to you and your viewers. To say the least, I am very disappointed in the response of the Electoral Commission, because the attitude the Electoral Commission is assuming is one that tells us that try hard as you may, for us where we are is where we are. We are never going to change our position because we have raised concerns. And this pretends about we are not aware about the political identity of the men in question. For me, incenses me a lot. Look, to the extent that the men in question themselves have agreed, at least one of them has considered that indeed he's a member, he's an active member of the NDC, he's a card-bearing member for that matter, and has even attempted applying to withdraw himself from the committee. To tell the Electoral Commission that all is not well. So for the Electoral Commission to pretentiously claim that they are not aware of these developments and that the National Service has just given to them in respect of these developments, for me, is extremely worrying. But you see, the point is, the Electoral Commission must recognize that political parties are shareholders in this whole process. And our concerns must be taken on board at all times. Our concerns are as valid as the decisions of the Electoral Commission itself. So that if we have concerns, such as those we are expressing now, the Electoral Commission must take them on board quite seriously. And I've heard this attempt to explain away these concerns by claiming this an administrative decision. Look, this steering committee is at the heart of the conduct of this election. So if we think that there are problems with this whole idea and the composition of its membership.
But Atiq, Mr. Mohammed, one of the key issues that the Electoral Commission makes, one of the key points that they make is that the EC, as an independent body, cannot consult political parties on all issues. This is a clearly administrative matter in their view.
Look, my brother, we are not asking the Electoral Commission to consult us on all issues. Why? We have not demanded that they should tell us how much they pay their staff. We are not asking them to disclose to us how much allowances they take. Those are not the issues we are raising. We are concerned about issues that are at the very heart of this year's election. The steering committee is expected to, technically speaking, run this election. So you cannot tell us this is an administrative, merely an administrative decision, and that political parties ought not to be consulted. You might as well just tell us there's no need consulting on anything anyway. Because if this claim, they are not taking this claim to independence as an excuse to accept the fact that they have erred and that this steering committee is problematic and should be dissolved.
Very well, Atik. We will be speaking shortly to the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Nana Obribwa, and he's also joined us on the line. But I want to find out, you've indicated that you could be heading to court if tomorrow's IPAC meeting fails to address your concerns.
Exactly so. Tomorrow at IPAC meeting, we'll vociferously make these concerns and we'll demand as a matter of urgency that this committee either be reconstituted or dissolved altogether. If the Electoral Commission still maintains this intransigent position of we will not allow the political parties to have an input into this, I think the best way, because we are all trying to guard the integrity and the credibility of the upcoming election, the next place for the next forum to vindicate these claims will be the law courts, and we will not hesitate to do so.
All right, thank you so much, Atik Mohammed. He is the General Secretary of the People's National Convention, and Nana Obribwa, Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, is on the line with us still. Nana Obribwa, I also want to pick your quick thoughts on the current stance of the AEC on this matter.
Well, I think that I wholeheartedly endorse the submission of Atik. Look, but I will even go further. I am inclined to believe, as I said yesterday, that looking at the circumstances of the committee, how the committee was set up, the various representatives from the various institutions, I am inclined to believe that it was the NDC as a party who picked the names and handed over the names to the EC.
Why so?
Basically, every member of the committee, people have raised protests about their loyalty and their allegiance to the NDC.
Truth be told, it's not every member of the committee. It's about 3 of them.
Basically, every member, let me repeat, basically every member.
Well, Nana Obribwa, this committee includes, for example, the Director of Operations at the Ghana Police Service, COP, Tete Yohunu, and Co.
Basically, every member.
You have issues with him, for example. There is.
I am saying basically every member. People have issues with every member.
Which people? You, the MPP?
Speaking for myself as an individual. But I think my party also endorsed that stand.
What are your issues? What are your issues? What are your issues with the other members? I know that the representative from the Peace Council, from Shraj, and also from the National Service Secretariat, issues have been raised questioning their allegiance to the NDC. Beyond these people, what are the issues you have with the other members? Tell me.
I am saying it always reservedly that basically every member of the committee, people have raised issues. And that is why I'm saying that some of us are well fortified in this belief that it was the NDC who picked the names and handed over the list to the Electoral Commission.
Well, you're talking about the NDC. Do hold the line for me because we've been joined on the line by a national organizer of the party, Mr. Kofi Adams. Mr. Adams, Nana Obribwa, Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, makes a rather serious allegation saying you handed those names, the list of steering committee members, to the AEC.
Good evening to your viewers. And Nana Obribwa is supposed to be a lawyer speaking this way. I don't know how he passed his law and how he's been practicing his law, that you make such an accusation without any shred of proof. In any case, let me assure Ghanaians that the NDC do not even care if Nana Addo Akufo-Addo is a member of that steering committee. If he represents any agency that will aid the Electoral Commission in his work and they put him on that steering committee, we do not care. Because the work of that steering committee will have nothing on how people will vote. And we are convinced that even if Obribwa is a member of the committee, Sir John is added, Nanado is added, President Mahama and NDC candidates across the country will win the election come 2016 when we go to the polls. But let's know that the Electoral Commission, per our Constitution, is independent. And in as far as this work is concerned, nobody is supposed to dictate to them how they do it. if the commission so feels that the actors who are involved in their activities are needed to be represented on a committee, and therefore they are inviting their representation on a committee that will do its work, I see no wrong in that.
And you think that in a crucial election year like this, there was no need for the EC to have at least consulted major stakeholders, the political parties?
I am not opposed to consultation at all. I am not opposed, but nobody is talking about consultation here. People are saying that somebody prepared the list and handed over.
The MPP, the PNC have raised issues with consultation as well.
And I'm saying that they are not, they say they want the committee dissolved. They don't need, the electoral commission don't need steering committee. That's what they are saying. And I'm saying if you have issues with membership, you can so raise the issues. If those issues are meritorious, they will be listened to. And there is platform where you can raise those issues. Look, let me give you just, can you indulge? In Ghana here, we have a parliament that has majority minority side, NDC, MPP. They nominate representation based on these sides to ECOWAS Parliament. When they get to ECOWAS Parliament, they don't debate based on MPP, NDC sides. They debate for Ghana. So sometimes you may belong to a political party, but when nominated to do some work, you work for the interest of Ghana. And those persons so nominated, I don't see them that anybody is going there to go and work for any party's interest. If MPP would have done so, I don't think that anybody who has NDC blood in him will do that. We believe in Ghana. We believe in doing things that favor all Ghanaians.
Well, Mr. Adams, I've heard some say that the MPP has taken this stance simply because you stand to benefit. The MPP, for example, believes so.
How you should have asked them how is NDC going to benefit from a steering committee that the electoral commission says they will need police in their work, so police be represented. NCC will be doing education in relation to elections, be represented. National Service be represented. Peace Council be represented. How is NDC going to benefit from this? How is the work of the steering committee's work going to benefit NDC? That we need to deploy police. They are not the ones who are going to deploy police. Their only interest is to be sure that police is represented there. National Service persons, if they will use them, they are represented there. So they, in discussing, they will know the strength of the secretary. So where lies NDC benefiting from this work?
So clearly you disagree with the MPP on this matter. I want to say thank you, national organizer of the NDC, Mr. Kofi Adams, for joining us on today's big story. And I know Barima is still with us on the line. Let's wrap up with the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP.
That it is an ad hoc body set up by the EC to assess to run the elections with the support of the NDC party.
And you indicate that the MPP will also consider the option of heading to court.
Yes, definitely, yes. But the bottom line is that it's still a body, an appendage of the NDC party that is set up to assess, to facilitate the rigging of the elections in favor of the NDC.
All right, I want to say thank you. Nano Bribwa is the Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. We've been joined on the line by a political science lecturer with the University of Ghana, Dr. Barima Osei Asare. He'll join us shortly on the line to do some analysis on this. In fact, yesterday, as you may remember, we heard from the major opposition political parties. The MPP said that this group should be dissolved. The CPP said the same. The PNC said the same. And today, we had the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers also backing those calls, saying that there is no need at all for the Electoral Commission to have what they have described as an election steering committee to aid their work in the 2016 election. With a short break, we'll be right back and speak to Dr. Barima Osei Asare. Welcome back to today's big story with me, Kwache Afreniama. Apologies, we've been unable to get in touch with political science lecturer Dr. Barima Osei Asare. We lost him on the line there. But I was telling you about this accident, and as you may know, on the Kintampo-Tamale Road, that's claimed up to 63 lives. Earlier today, the Vice President and other government officials have visited the area to assess the situation. In fact, the situation was so dire, the hospital, health facilities in the area had a great difficulty in attending to the patients because of the vast numbers involved. In the morning, in fact, the report that we had speaking to the regional commander in that area was that 53 people had died, but that figure shot up. In fact, there have been questions about our emergency responses in situations of this nature. We know that the military, the fire service, and the police service were in that area to try and rescue people, but they had a really tough time. And as you may see, as you can see in your shots there, that's the accident scene. Really, really tragic incident there. The two vehicles, this cargo truck and a Metro Mass Transit bus, completely destroyed. And thankfully, we do have on the line Dr. Ken Anku for Mr. Ben Anku on the line for some analysis on this matter. Mr. Ben Anku, I'm wondering, you are with the Coalition of NGOs in Health. How do you react to concerns about our emergency response in cases like this?
Yeah, thank you, and good evening, Ghana. We want to state that the bereaved families, we share with them, we mourn with them, and we encourage them to be strong in this moment, and that the good Lord will replenish and give them their beloved ones and also keep them in good shape for the acting of their family. We also want to take the opportunity to thank you for your ability to try to influence and get people to respond to some of these critical health issues in Ghana. Now, we already have emergency response to some of these crises, especially accidents when they happen. Ghana Health Service do have, and my understanding is that all the districts...
Are you satisfied with the emergency responses that we have when we're dealing with these situations? Are you satisfied?
No, our health system have recognized emergency response, but it's not strengthened in a way that should be able to respond to some of these crises. Because
I want to say...
Jema and Kintampo is just closer.
So you think they are not doing a great job? I want to say thank you. That's all time will allow us for Mr. Ben Anku is with the Coalition of NGOs in Health here in Ghana. That'll be it for today's big story. My name is Kwache Afreniama.